What's up guys, Weldon Customs here, and today we are taking a look at the Dragon Ball Z Figure Rise Standard Frieza figure right here. And really quickly I want to show you guys the box, how it looks like. So give me 1 second. Alright. It looks pretty cool. That's how it looks like. It looks pretty nice. You have Goku right there. I actually got the Goku one also, but I didn't get to build it yet because I was more interested in the Frieza one first, so I don't get that out of the way. And on the side of the boxes, it has some nice poses by Frieza. Looks pretty cool. Go to the other side. Yep. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting line, pretty nice. It's basically like your standard Gundam model kits, and it comes in all these different pieces and you build it, and this is what you get. Frieza right there. And I like it, it's pretty nice. So the way that this review will go, we're going to take a look at the accessories first, and then we're going to dive straight into the size comparisons because I know a lot of people want to see how it stacks up with your SH Figure Arts figure. Why not, right? And after that, we're going to go into some details of it, articulation, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to kind of modify it, or just basically I'm going to glue some parts together which I think should stay together to make this figure or model, whatever you want to call it, last longer in your possession. So let's go. Okay, so for accessories, Frieza comes with a bunch of them. First off, he does come with 2 different heads, which aren't that bad. Let's take a look at that really quickly. This is the first head on his body right here. Pretty normal, has a little bit of a smirk. The other one has a huge smile right there. I do wish he had another one of him shouting or angry or something like that, so you can kind of, you know, if he's going to be getting beaten up by Goku, you know, that'd be a nice one to have right there. Going to the rest of the accessories, he has a couple of hands. On the body right now, he has 2 fist hands right there. Other than that, he has the pair right here, which are like, you can use for blasters or blocking punches. So that's pretty good right there. And the other one is your standard Frieza pointing finger where he blasts people, or he has a big energy ball on top. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so next for accessories, he has a stand right here that has a couple of different usage out of it, and you can bring it up higher, take it out, bring it lower, so it's pretty good right there. I'm going to switch off his hand to the pointy finger one right now, because this is what we need right now, and it's on a ball joint, so that's pretty easy. But first off, he does have this little beam blaster right here, which is pretty self-explanatory. It comes with a little bit of a holder right there, and you stick it onto this. You lower the height for short Frieza, and then you point away like that. Pretty straightforward, you want to do that. But what the other one is I like a lot better is this one. So this is just like the energy ball, and it has a little bit of a stand right here, and you actually put this on his wrist, and it slides right in there, and you can have him like that, and that is pretty cool. You might want to bring this behind so it doesn't look so obvious. Give me 1 second. There you go. So that's pretty cool. You could definitely do that for a lot of different poses. The accessory he has right here, this one clips onto his tail in the back over here, and you actually have to get another accessory that's not included, sold separately, which acts as a stand for him to be flying, I guess, or have a nice flight pose, but I don't have that, so we will skip this for now. However, actually, if you take this little piece right here that came with this thing, and you actually could stick this in there and put this on a stand, so you have the energy ball floating in midair, and you could be pushing it if you want. But you could take just this part if you want to. You can stick it back on that tail piece. There's a little hole right there, like that. And then you take Frieza, stick it back on there, and then you attach that part to the stand now. And it's not the best because I don't think it's really meant to hold his whole weight, but if you really try to maybe, you know, tighten it up a little bit somewhat, you could kind of get him in some decent poses. But the stand itself is pretty small, so you're really going to have to play around with it. Alright, lastly, he does come with stickers right here that you put on parts, different parts of his body, on the side of the ear right here, on his mouth, especially the other one, also on his toes. I only did half of them because sometimes they might come off, so I just want to show you guys how it looks like. I'm just going to paint it on myself later, so but I want to show you guys how it looks like with it on and off. Alright, so quick look at size comparisons right now. We will get into the individual ones soon, but as you can see, Frieza is a little bit bigger compared to the SH figure arts one right here, but it's not that bad. You take him out, he still looks pretty good. You know, he is shorter compared to most of them right here, except for Trunks over there, but he's shorter, he is a little bit smaller, so he fits in pretty good. And even if you have the white and purple version of Frieza right here from SH Figure Arts, he can actually pass off as the buff, juiced up version of him when he was fighting Goku at the end of the saga. So it's not bad. You can still work him in different ways. He still looks pretty good overall. Alright, so side by side we have the SH Figure Arts Frieza with the new one right here. As I said before, this one is a little bit bigger, as you can see, a lot beefier body. You can pass him off as the juiced up version of this final form if you want to, but we'll do those side by side right there so you can see how big he is. And also their tails are really long, as you can see. Man, these tails are so annoying. It's hard to pose them and straighten them up. Alright, next we have Frieza with some of the Vegeta figures I have in my collection. The new ones, the old ones. So he looks pretty good in my opinion. He is a little bit shorter than Vegeta, so I think it looks pretty good overall. You know, I don't mind the size too. You know, they're around the same size in mass. I don't think that's a horrible thing. Like I said before, obviously this is the one that everyone is accustomed to, but it might be a little bit too small. I don't mind this size, to be honest. Now some other supporting characters. We have Piccolo, we have Trunks, and we have Gohan right here. As you can see, him and Trunks are a little bit about the same size. If not, he's a little bit taller. We'll put him to the side right here, and we have Gohan standing next to him. You know, he does have a rather big head. It might look a little bit weird compared to the rest of them, but remember, he is an alien, so whatever, right? And next right here, we have some of the Goku figures in my collection. As you can see, I think it looks pretty good overall. Goku is bigger than Frieza right here, and I have no complaints whatsoever. And for reference right now, here he is with some of the Marvel Legend figures. You have Wolverine, and you have your Deadpool figure in the standard Bucky cap mold. Alright guys, now that we had these size comparisons out of the way, we can finally take a look at the figure itself. Now like I said before, it's just like your standard Gundam model kit, so he's going to feel a little bit lighter on the light side. He is a little bit hollow as well. He's not going to be like a very sturdy figure like a SH Figure Arts one, but it's not bad though. It's still pretty good. You know, when you buy him, you know what you're getting into, so it's not the worst thing in the world. As for a model, it's definitely a nice looking figure as well as a model kit. You know, when it comes to articulation, which I'll get into more detail, all the hinges are really nice and firm. They move really good. They're not loose, they're not tight, they're nice and firm, so that's a good thing as well. The ball joints are probably the worst part of this figure. I'll get into more detail of that later. But going into the look of this figure, I like how it looks. There he is, right there. And a nice smirk on Frieza right there, looks pretty good. Going down to the body, he does have a rather small midsection right there. It could be debatable if you like that or not, but overall the rest of the body is nicely sculpted. It looks pretty good, and no real complaints right there. If you want to switch off the head, you just pop off the head right there, and you put on this goofy smile. Yeah, it looks pretty interesting. If I didn't say it before, I do wish it had another head that had him angry, so that would be a lot cooler to have, like a shouting face sculpt or something like that. Alright, going into articulation really quickly, he does have a ball jointed head on top, so you get some movement out of that. Also, the base of his neck does move a little bit back and forth, a little bit side to side. Not the greatest, but you do get some movement out of that, so it does help a little bit overall in posing him right there. For the shoulders, he does have a ball joint in there. Let me try to zoom in right there. So he has a ball joint inside the shoulder socket, so it does go left and right a little bit and goes up and down, so that's some nice movement. And he has standard shoulder joints go up and down, in and out right there. He has a bicep swivel, 2 points at the elbow, which is pretty good, and at the wrist it is a ball joint, so you have some movement. Not the greatest, but it's pretty decent overall. Going to the ab joint, it's not the greatest. You do have a ball joint up there, I believe. Yeah, and you have a ball joint at the waist over here. So it's not the greatest. Like I said before, you do have some movement out of it. They do swivel, they do pivot a little bit as well, so it's not that bad. But as an ab crunch, it's not the greatest in the world. Going down to the hips, basically has like T-jointed hips, so they go forward. Let me zoom out a little bit. They go forward pretty good, about 90-degree angle. That's pretty nice. It goes back a little bit, side to side, that much right there. And he does have a thigh swivel right here. He has 2 points at the knee, which is pretty nice. And at the ankle, he does have a hinge right there, which is not that bad. It also kind of rotates left and right like a pivot, if you want to do it like that. But there is no toe articulation. Now looking at his tail right now, he does have a little peg right there that goes in and out because you put the stand right there, so it goes in and out right there. Looks okay, I guess. It does rotate all the way around. At different parts of the tail, it's in pieces, so it does rotate, one right there and one right here as well. It is hard plastic though, so it's not as flexible as the SH Figure Arts one. But you can still get some nice poses out of it and rotate it around if you get creative with it. Alright guys, now let's talk about QC issues I have with this figure. Not horrible things, but some things I noticed while I was fooling around with it. For one thing, the ball joints aren't the greatest. They're pretty good, they're not horrible, but when you overextend some joints like in the waist or in the head, it might pop off like that. Not bad, you just pop it back on and he's fine. It's not like it's gonna come off or anything like that. It's that if you overextend the joint, it might happen, so be aware of that. Also in the head right there. And also, like I said before, it is a model, so you are putting pieces together and you're not gluing it, you're just snapping it in little peg holes. So sometimes they might get loose, sometimes they need some readjusting, like in a tail. Sometimes in the waist over here, you might readjust it to bring it back together. Nothing horrible, like I said before, it's just some things that you have to get used to, squeezing it back in sometimes. That's why I'm gonna do at the end, I'm gonna super glue some parts back down permanently so I don't have to deal with that. But overall, other than that, the QC issues on this is pretty good. No problems at all. Like I said before, the joints are great. The hinge joints are nice. Let me try to take this off. So this is a ball joint right here. It pops in, no problems there. It feels really good. The bicep swivel is enclosed, so it won't come off as well. It's really good. I have to admit, I'm really impressed by the feel of most of the joints. It feels a lot better compared to other, action figures we have, like Hasbro or some of the SH Figure Arts ones. It feels good, obviously, because it's all hard plastic. It's not like it's rubber hardened plastic that it might bend or it might warp, so obviously that's why it might feel a little bit better in the long run. Alright, so one thing I'm going to fix first really quickly is the lower crotch area right here, which I feel like it might, it doesn't fall apart, but it gets loose sometimes. Oops. Alright, get the whole part off. And just this part right here. So I want to just basically super glue it down. And what I do for that is I have this one, my crazy glue right here. I like using this because it has a brush, so you have a better chance of not messing up, and you're able to pretty much, get exactly where you want the glue to go. So this is the inside of it. I'm going to apply just a little bit, not that much. I don't want to get too much around there. Just get it over the pegs and around the edges. So I'll zoom in a little bit, show you guys how I do this. Don't mind me and forgive me if I lose focus because I want to do this perfectly. So a little bit on the pegs that go in to the figure, and maybe a little bit on the sides right there. Not too much. It's pretty good. It should be good enough, to be honest. And then we're going to stick it back onto the figure like that. And sometimes that's all you need to do. It'll dry nicely. If you want to rotate the legs, so if there is any super glue that might drip down, you don't want it to freeze on you. But I didn't put that much on, so it should be fine. And I would do the same thing to the rest of the figure, like the tail part over here. It tends to break apart, so I'll just super glue it down as well. And also in the back over here, this part. So yeah, that's a way that I would not modify, but I would definitely help ensure that this figure won't fall apart as much, if it does at all. Alright guys, so that's basically it. Like I said before, I like it a lot. I think this is pretty cool. I had a lot of fun building it. I haven't built a model in a long time. It took me about an hour to do, give or take. Hopefully when I do the Goku one, it'll take me a little bit less, maybe 45 minutes. But overall, I do like it. I think it matches pretty well with your SH Figure Arts Dragon Ball Z figures. If you don't have the SH Figure Arts Frieza, the white and purple version, I think it's a great alternative to have because it's a lot cheaper too. You know, you're spending over 150 bucks or you're spending only 30 or less on this one. The size might be a little bit different, but I think it still matches pretty well with Goku and Vegeta right there. So yeah, it's definitely a fun thing to have. The articulation is really good. Remember, it is a model, so some pieces might not stay together all the time. Just super glue it together, you'll be fine. The ball joint is probably the worst thing on this figure, but you can pop it back on, no problems there. You know, it has problems, it has its flaws, but it's not enough for me to be like it's the worst figure in the world. I think it's pretty good overall, and I think you will have a lot of fun with it. So that's basically it, guys. Thank you for watching. Like always, comment, criticize, subscribe, do whatever you want to pay attention. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram with wildandcustoms.com. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Peace.